Hello, everyone. Welcome to Real Talk Tonight. I'm so glad you're here with me on this beautiful Thursday. And we have some wonderful, wonderful couples here with us and some guests here with us. And we're going to be talking about, as you see at that bottom, Valentine's Day. And we're going to talk about love and what that means and just get different perspectives from some married couples, some seasoned married couples, from also a couple that will be married on Valentine's Day this Sunday. And we're also going to hear from us single people like me and Criz. We'll talk about how we feel about love and Valentine's Day as well. So we're going to jump right into it. And I know that Criz has a show right after my show, Dope Livin. So you guys make sure you tune in to that show too as well, okay? But I'm going to I want to start with the guys. I have a question for you, okay? And let me see. Criz, I want to hear from one of the married couple first, and then I'm gonna come to you, okay? And I am respectful of your time, so I make sure we get some comments from you. All right. So first question I have. This question is for my guys on the show. On the show now, if you're not talking to, make sure you mute yourself so that we don't get background, feedback. But talking to the guys on the show at first, and to my viewers too, if you see that dark screen right there, Heaven's fiance, soon to be husband on Valentine's Day, is kind of working a job. So he wants to be on here so he can talk with his fiance and they can, interact with you guys so you can learn more about them as a couple and hear what they have to say. So first question, this is for my men only. Guys, and we're going to start with Bobby, because you guys, I think, have everybody beat on the time frame that you've been married. But my question, and my other men on the show, think about what your answer is going to be, okay? Now, the question for you all is, what is love when it comes to speaking about your wife, your significant other? What does love mean from that perspective when you think about that person? Starting with you, Bobby.
Okay. That is a deep question because it involves a lot of different things. When you say love, it covers a whole gambit of things. Love can be speech, it can be body language, it can be even in the way you look at a person. Now, I'm looking at my wife right now. Now, when I look at her, I'm not just looking at her. I'm looking at years of marriage. I'm looking at years of ups and downs. I'm looking at years of good times, and I'm looking at years of not so good times. You notice I didn't say bad times. I said not so good times.
I got
Because
that.
when you with somebody that is, how can I say, your soulmate, you really don't have bad times. You see, you really don't, because you have each other. And as long as you have each other, to be truthful, it's always good times. That's to me, that is a definition of love.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you for sharing that with me. And let's see. I'm gonna go to Team Lackey next. So, Ronnie, tell me what. And I'll read the question so you guys remember. What is love when it comes to speaking about your significant other? What does it mean to you? What does love mean to you when you think about that person?
Love for me when it comes to my wife. When I think of love, I think of me being a protector for her, me being able to provide for her, me being able to be there emotionally for her, me being able to be open and willing to communicate with her, being able to compromise, and me being able to be there throughout everything that she needs, as far as being there in the gap for whatever she can't accomplish. I'll be there to, pick her up and move forward with it.
Okay. All right. That's beautiful. Thank you. And Fred, we're going to come on over to you guys. What is what is love when it comes to speaking about Toseima, about your wife, and from your perspective when you think about her?
The first thing that stands out to me is the word sharing. You can share with a lot of people, but I think it's very hard to find somebody who really, truly, genuinely appreciates the things that you share. I think one of the big things that we actually are able to do is, no matter how small or how large the event is or the idea is, we share all things, and we find a lot of value in all the things we share. And I think that keeps us connected for anything greater that we have. I think that having somebody whose wiring psychologically, physically is complementary to mine makes that, even more enjoyable.
Okay, that's beautiful. Thank you. And Criz, I'm gonna go to you next, and then I'll come to you, Edward.
Well, when I'm in a relationship.
Yes, me and you talking from a different perspective.
Right. When I'm in a relationship, it's more of a in love factor.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can love someone, but love is a 4-letter word. Since we have a reverend on here, I ain't gonna say the other 4-letter word. You know so, but being in love with someone is pretty much, like the reverend said, your better half. You know what I'm saying? The person that you're joining at the hip at, person you can't live without. Like the last brother just said, sharing. Like the new couple that's about to get married, I believe that was them talking about protection and all of that.
They actually didn't talk yet.
You don't want anyone to infiltrate. Oh, okay. So I guess it was the other married couple that talked about protection when he was talking. So I mean, it's just pretty much a king taking care of his queen and vice versa.
Okay, that's pretty good. I like that. So Edward, knowing that you're going to be married and you haven't been together for a little while, and have 2 beautiful children together, and now you guys are about to tie that knot. What does love mean when it comes to speaking about heaven? What does love mean to you when you think about her? This woman who is about to be your wife. And if you got yourself muted, make sure you unmute yourself. If you're speaking, we can't hear you. All right, he might have stepped away for a moment, so we'll come back to him. I do want to say to my viewers out there, hey, make sure you leave a comment, and you can ask questions of my couples here. We want you guys to interact with them so that we can be a blessing to you in your relationships. And speaking of Valentine's Day, which is supposed to be about love and all those wonderful things, that's how we celebrate it, okay? Also, I do want to tell my guest that's on the show, make sure you share too. If you got a moment to share on your page, and make sure that people are tuning in. And we can do it afterwards as well, but just, hey, we want to get some feedback as well. Now, ladies, so you heard what the guys had to say about love. Now, they say that men are from Mars and women are from Venus or whatever. We kind of have different perspectives. Ladies, it's your turn. Tell me what you feel love means when it comes to speaking about your significant other or your spouse. So we are going to go with Toseima first. Toseima?
Love for me, when I think about Friday, is I feel like it's so many things. Like, love encompasses how we interact with each other, how we speak to each other, the things we do together, how focused we are when we are together, because both of us are pretty busy all the time. So our time that we spend together is big time quality time. So I just appreciate the way he interacts with me and the way he focuses on all the little things that matter to me. There's so many things, like anything from what I'm wearing or how my hair may be, or if I say something that he thinks is profound or cool, then he just responds in a certain way that it just makes me feel not only like he cares for me, but he's passionate about the things that matter to me. And that's a big deal.
All right, that is true. That's pretty good. Pretty good. All right, we are going to go to Cola. Cola, what's your response to that?
I'm a little nervous. You guys are going to have to bear with me. Love in relation to Ronnie and I just feel like it's good to have somebody that loves you so much that they're willing to go through things with you and you can work things out. You know, at the end of the hard day, he's the first person I want to talk to and share. And when something good happens, he's the first person I want to tell. Yeah, we're married, but I mean, we both have friends, of course, but he is my best friend because I want to share everything with him. So, so with him and I'm sorry.
That's okay. Hey, it's just us. We're friends. Just talk to us like we're your friends, girl. It's okay. Be yourself.
Yeah. When I so like I said, when I think about him, I mean, I know he talked about the protector and provider, and I know, you know, for a lot of women that's very important, and it is a part of our relationship. But for me, it's just more of the time that we spend and we talk to one another, because I've seen so many married couples not even be able to sit in the same room and have the conversations that we have and laugh like we laugh.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's true. That's true. I've seen them too. You're right about that. Okay, well, Edward, I know you're back. What did you want to say real quickly too? Did I lose him again, Heaven?
About love?
Yes, about what do you have to say about what is
Yes,
love
can
when
you
it
hear me?
comes to, yes, I can. So what is love when it comes to thinking about or speaking about heaven to you? Can you hear me?
Well, first and foremost is yes, it's about I feel like loving myself and
We lost him. Okay, well, we'll come back to him. And all right, we're going to go to Kathy. Kathy, what is love when it comes to speaking about Bobby?
Oh, love. When I think about love, mainly I think about godly love. The love of a godly husband that has shared, like he was saying, through thick and thin. Haven't got to the death part, God forbid, but it's just been a journey. And I mean, the strength, protector, great father to the boys, a comforter. Now he's not taking the place of Jesus, but just that somebody that's there. And the boys, they can call their father. They got a good relationship with them. Even the grandkids. We have 5 grandkids. So that's what I think about when I think about him. Strong man. He might seem quiet, but that strength, it's what keeps me grounded. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you for sharing. So,
hey, I'm back.
Okay. What were you going to say? What does love mean when you think about heaven?
I think about our kids. I think about everything I seen heaven done for me, the sacrifices she made to complete our relationship and to build a home. Those things are major to me. That shows love. She's my ride or die. You know what I'm saying? And I know she's willing to do whatever it takes to make this relationship work.
Okay. That's nice. That's beautiful. And,
as well
yes.
as I am, and Hello, can y'all hear me?
Yes, we've lost that last part you said, though. I don't know what you said on the last part.
We're growing more and more. Our
Okay.
love is steady growing. Being a young couple, and trying to lead by example and block out what the social media try to present, and
Okay.
things of in our nature of how our parents try to make their relationship last. We're holding on tight, and we talk to each other every time, reminding ourselves how much we want to make our relationship work. So
Yes, that's pretty good. That's good. Well, Heaven, what's your perspective when it comes to thinking about Edward? What is love to you when it comes to Edward?
Love to me is sacrifice for one. Picking up the pieces when the other is down, and that really means it being physically, mentally, spiritually, being able to lift each other up. I think it means being able to compromise, being able to communicate with each other, being able to learn how to deal with the differences. There's a lot of things in relationships, in each other, really, that we really can't change. Some things are easy to change and fix. If we want to do better, if we want to be better in a relationship, but most things we have to learn how to not necessarily deal with, but yes, deal with. My thing is, I rather pick and choose my battles. Every argument is not necessary. Every debate is not necessary. Because at the end of the day, this is the person you're laying with. This is the person you go to sleep with at night. This is the person you wake up to. This is the person you are spending your life with, and they know your ins and outs. So one thing I think is mainly important is having God in your relationship. Without it, it will not work at all. At all. At all.
I agree. That's good advice. Good advice. So, Criz, let me ask you a question. So, now you and I are single. Valentine's Day is coming up. Criz, you want to go out? No, I'm just kidding. You're way over there, and I'm way over here in Georgia, okay? Are you in California right now, or where you at? Because, you travel a whole lot.
Oh, I'm in Vegas right now.
You're in Vegas, okay, all right. Just joking with you guys, all right? He's like a brother to me, so I can tease him that way. So, Criz, let me ask you, for you, with Valentine's Day coming up and everything, and not being in a relationship, does it affect you, or you look at it like it's just another day, or would you prefer to be kind of hanging out with somebody, or are you taking somebody out for Valentine's Day? That's a lot of questions in one. So you just take it and you roll with it.
So normally on Valentine's Day, I'm usually at NBA All-Star Weekend.
Okay.
So it's not an NBA All-Star Weekend this year. I was in Chicago last year, but since it's not one this year, I'm pretty much chilling. My son's birthday is on the 13th, so the day before Valentine's Day. So I'm pretty much kicking with him and do that. The female friend that I have, she's a travel nurse and she's in New York right now. So we'll probably FaceTime.
Okay.
Talk to each other because she snowed in out there, so she can't go nowhere.
Okay. Well, on Valentine's Day for me, I am going to be officiating Edward and Heaven's wedding. So I'm very proud and happy of that. And Heaven is my niece. Edward is my soon-to-be nephew. I still call him my nephew. And so that I will be spending Valentine's Day with my family and at this beautiful affair. And Fred and Toseima will be there as well. Yes, Fred is a DJ among other things that the two of them do, and he and Toseima are a team, and we're going to talk about team in a moment too. But I got a question for you guys. Have you ever heard of Black Love Day? Who's heard of Black Love Day?
That's interesting.
Nobody? Guess what? There is actually a holiday that was put together, and it's called Black Love Day. It is actually February 13th. And I'm going to read to you what Black Love Day is about. Since it's Black History Month, we had to throw some Black stuff up in there so we can educate our people and all people. So Black Love Day, as I said, it's celebrated February 13th. It was founded in 1993 by Ayo Handy Kendi. And Black Love Day is observed as a 24-hour display of Black love demonstrated through love towards the Creator, or I would say God, love for yourself, love for the family, and love within the Black community. So if you didn't know, now you know. And that's, like I said, the 13th. All right, back to Valentine's Day and love. Let's talk about, Bobby, I'm going to point this question to you because I know you know about the 5 love languages, right? By Gary Chapman, right? Every minister knows about it. So based on the things that you heard here, it's interesting to me because we have so many different perspectives of what men perceive as their way of seeing love compared to what the women perceive as their way of feeling loved. And so we heard about quality time. We heard about, support, so many different views. So what's your perspective on some of the things that you heard when it comes to the love languages? And if you can, explain to our viewers what the 5 love languages is really about.
Okay. Well, one thing I'd like to say in reference to everything that I've heard so far, is wonderful. It's very good. It's going in the correct direction for a happy marriage. I'll say it that way. Now, it's interesting that you would ask this question because love and the eyesight and mindsets of men is much different than love and the eyesight and mindsets of women. Mm-hmm. We were created quite.
Don't forget to mute yourself, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we created quite differently. And what happens with it, with a man, his aspects of love toward his wife and family is, first of all, taking care of them, okay? Providing for them, all right? And treating his wife with the utmost of respect, okay? Kindness, gentleness, and understanding and communication, okay? Now, when a man does these things or acts in that way, in his mind and in his heart, he's showing love. Now, many times this will equate to a type of emotional base. In other words, so I'm talking about kissing, hugging, snuggling, and all the other things that go with that. But men say their mindset is, when I do this, that, and the other thing, I am proving and showing my love. Okay, give you an example. Valentine's Day is coming up. Okay. A man, well, I'll take it in reference to myself. I can go out and I'll buy a card and I'll give my wife the card. But before I get her the card, I'm thinking about something else, okay? What do I remember she said she wanted this, or she liked this little pretty thing, or that little pretty thing, or a flower or something. So I will get the card, but then I'm getting something else because I want her to know that it's past the card. It's going past that card, and it's going into something physical that she can hold. Because a lot of times men, well, I'll say it this way. A lot of men is not so hung up on cards like this. Now, don't get mad at me now. Don't get mad. Sometimes we will forget a card, but we'll get something else, and then we kind of forget the card because in our mind, she know I'm crazy about it. Look at this great big thing I'm getting her, but sometimes the woman say, I want the car. So it works like that. So when it comes to all these different aspects of a relationship with your wife, woman, wife, and I would say this, girlfriend, lover, all that is involved, friend, baby, whatever. We sometimes I call my wife baby. I don't know if some other men do that. They might call her baby or whatever. But as I say so many times, with a marriage, you got a friend, okay? You got your wife. Sometimes you have your sister. You have all that in there.
Now, Bobby, I gotta throw a joke in there. You might want to be careful when you say you got a friend and your wife.
No.
I want to make sure we're talking. That's the same person. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
People be thinking.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
So I'll just end it like that.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off on what you were saying, but I just thought that was a little bit funny. A little bit. But okay, so when we talk about the 5 love languages, and this is, if you haven't read the book, you should. It's by Gary Chapman, but it's talking about that we all can have a different love language that we speak. We can even be bilingual in our love language. So in other words, there may be people that feel loved when they receive gifts. And when you give them gifts, they're thinking, oh my God, he really loves me or she really loves me. There can be people who look at wanting to have, my bracelet got stuck, look. I'm trying to unstick it with this slickly, but it wasn't working. But anyway, so there can be people who view love, their love language is in, spending quality time together. I heard Cola say something like that. There can be another love language of being that person that's a provider and providing for your family. And you think, and most guys have that love language. They think, if I take care of my family, I'm working, I bring home the money, I pay the bills, and you should know I love you. But that woman may not speak that same language. And she's like, he never, gives me words of affirmation that I'm beautiful and all this stuff. And she's feeling unloved. So it's so important that you know your significant other, your mate's love language, so that you guys can communicate together on the same level. So you'll know how to show him love and he'll know how to show you love because you'll speak each other's language. You guys agree?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Now I want to ask Team Lackey, and I call them Team Lackey, and I'm going to have them explain to you why they're called Team Lackey. Because Ronnie shared something with me, and I thought it was so beautiful and profound about he and his wife's relationship and how they became Team Lackey. So, Ronnie, would you share that with our listeners?
Sure. Okay. Well, like most couples, when you in a relationship for a long time, people always throw around, and I used to joke when they first told me the 7-year itch. I know the married people that have been married for a while, you heard of that, the 7-year itch. Well, when people told me about it, I laughed about it. But lo and behold, we busted wide open. We hit it, and we hit it hard, and we was going through a lot of issues. And basically, long story short, I ended up, we separated for a little while. And when they say God comes to you in many different ways, I was very close to her father, but we always joked and we talked about different things, but in our own way. We didn't talk the lovey-dovey talk. We would, boy do this, boy do that, but everybody understood because we was basically the same person. She married her dad, basically. So we got along real good. So he came to me one day when I came to go pick up my daughter from my visitation. And when I walked up and I'm looking at him because I had just came from work and I'm like, man, I ain't got time for him today. He just walked up to me. He's like, what's going on, son? And he was like, look, I don't know exactly what's going on with you and the daughter, but y'all need to figure it out. He He's like, you need to figure out what's important to you, and she needs to figure out what's important to her, because y'all need to straighten this out. And I expected him to come at me like, "What'd you do to my daughter and what's going on?" negatively. But he came to me about me and me fixing me to get my family back right.
Mhm.
So that night, I went back to where I was staying, and I basically, just sat there and was thinking about what he said. Then I just started praying to God, and I was like, "Look, if this is what's meant to be, you know, give me a sign, let me know that this is what's going to be. But if it's going to be, we're going to be together, we need to be better than what it is. I don't want to go back to the same thing that we're doing and then end up back here." So I woke up the next day, I was rejuvenated. God spoke to me. He gave me the understanding, like, if you're going to go back, y'all need to be a one. Y'all need to be a whole. It needs to be everything that y'all doing for each other is one purpose. We're one-minded. Look, we're going this way. I'm going to talk to her about what I'm going to do. So you need to be a team. And that just jumped out to me, so I was like, okay. So I came up with of course, my last name is Lackey. So we team Lackey over everything. Whatever we do as a team, and when we move as a team, and we put Team Lackey on everything. Like, we have a business. It's TL Designs. It stands for Team Lackey Designs. I published a book under my self-published. It's TL Publishing. Everything we do stems from Team Lackey. With God as the head and Team Lackey is the next thing. It's no other than that. So that's what we came up with, Team Lackey. And since we've been doing that, we have spats, and I think we do have our little spats just to keep us on edge, keep us good, keep us grounded, because all the too much happy, you get delusional. So I think we throw little spats in there just to keep us on kill and let us know where we're going in life,
But I like too much happy.
Yeah, too much happy, you get delusional, and then you lose stuff. Because people, I tell young people when they talk about being in a marriage, when you first meet that person, you're meeting that representative. You're seeing everything that's good about that person. So you have to find out what's underneath all that. Because everybody knows when you're meeting somebody, you putting your best foot forward. Oh, I really like her, so I'm putting everything forward. Showing them the best of me. You don't see no hair bonnets. You don't see none of that when you first.
What you trying to say about our hair bonnets? No, just playing. No, one thing I hate, pet peeve, is to see people walking in the store with a hair bonnet on. I'm like, really? You could have just combed your hair a little bit. But, and that's true. I love all that you had to say. And, really, when you say Team Lackey, it really is, following biblical principles that where when you get married, you become one because you're one person. You're no longer individuals. So I love Team Lackey. Criz, I know you're going to have to go in a moment. So from you, Criz, what is your perspective on the fact that maybe when you're a little bit younger, we view love in one way, but as you get older and more mature, you look at love or being in love a different way. So what would be your advice to people in regards to that?
When I was younger, I didn't know what love was because I was jumping out of one relationship into another one and didn't have a chance to heal. And I always say that it's not a woman's job to make me happy. I have to come in the situation happy. It's her job to keep me happy, and vice versa. That when she comes into a relationship with me, it's not my job to make her happy. She has to come into the situation already happy. It's my job to basically be her peace of mind and keep her happy. So, the older I get, the more I figured out what love was, pretty much. So that's pretty much it.
Okay. All right. That's pretty good. So going to Fred and Toseima, what comments do you guys, listening to everything you've heard so far, what would you like to add to the comments?
Okay. Well, I love the First of all, God being the foundation of everything. My grandfather would turn in his grave if he knew I was talking about love and didn't mention God. Right? I grew up as my grandfather was a pastor, so I think about a lot of things in that regard. Well, something that Freddie said I thought was really cool when we were listening to what Criz was saying about happiness and someone coming into a situation happy and then the other person helps to keep them happy. Freddie was saying that you just don't disturb the happiness that's already present in a person. Mm-hmm. And I didn't think about happiness that way, but essentially that's what it is when two people come together and they're both already whole. They don't come apart. They come closer together and they unite as one whole. But when two people come together and they're already whole, like individually, I'm focused. I have my stuff together. I'm trusting and believing God for the things that are important to me in my life. And then he's doing the same things in his life. So as we join together, it makes it that much better. I feel really grateful to hear the insight of all the couples, and especially hearing what Ronnie said about the whole concept of Team Lackey. And I believe that's what Freddie and I are doing in our businesses, in our lives. Like he has 2, I have 3. So then our whole family together is like a wonderful version of the Brady Bunch. And we're all like connected, and our whole blended family movement is just really great. I think there are so many good things about being in love and being happy, but I think it's a choice. So the thing that I go away with is every day we're continuing to choose each other, not having nothing to do with the world or any of those things. We just say today, every time we wake up, I choose Freddie.
Aw,
thanks,
so
baby.
cute. I like that.
Yeah. So from my perspective, and going back to Criz more recently, when he was speaking of love and learning about love and things of the maturity, I can say 2 things in regards to that that are really strong in my experience. One is, as a youngster, we're so spirited, we're so ready. We know what we want to do. We have the plan. We got it mapped out, but we have been nowhere. So we're really, we're really building it as we're going along, but we're doing it so much more through will than we are through wisdom. And when you get a chance to bump your head a few times, trip over your own mistakes, get back up, trip over another one, find a speed bump, pothole, a wall, whatever. And then you have to figure out, sometimes you have to submit to the actual, I will call them the transgressions or the learning points in life, because when you're young and in love, you make mistakes. And sometimes because we're so young and full of life, we judge more harshly the mistakes that people make in our lives. Until we build a history of our own, then we are a little bit more reasonable with the people who have transgressions towards us. If we learn from our mistakes. And I think that was one of my more valuable adult enlightenments, is being able to learn from the mistakes that I made earlier in my life, no matter what they were. And now I'm able to, present day, be more patient, more understanding, more reflective. And there's certain things that I've heard that I might have heard 20 years ago that sound totally different to me now. Mm-hmm. And it was one of the biggest things was the idea of small talk. I had a towing business, and I'm telling you, I was going for 16 hours a day. I had no time for small talk. I didn't. And you don't have time for small talk. Yeah, but when you sit down at home, if you don't have small talk, what do you have? Mm-hmm. You have to be able to share the small moments in order for that bond that you have to stay, that heat, that those coals on that fire to stay there. Because if you don't, and it's always about the other thing, you're not going to be too genuine with each other all the time. And lastly, the other part is me growing and learning in love. I understand so much more now about the value of my parents. Now, my parents split when I was 7 years old. Okay, I was a kid. They consider that formative years. But I do now understand just how valuable it is that if you did not have the security of two parents, it don't have to be biological, but a male and a female, two people to raise a youngster into love and teach them how to love and show them where they may fall off or where the pitfalls are, the edges of the road are. If that's not something that is a part of your upbringing, it does make it more challenging when you have to go out into the world and experience for your first time, because now you don't have a reference point, or you may have one reference point. I'm just thankful that I had a mother and a father at least till 7 years old, because before my parents split, my father made such an impression on me in that way that when my mother carried me through the rest, she simply related to me based on me, my personality, and it allowed me to grow a lot more at an early age.
Okay. That's pretty good. That's pretty good advice. And thank you for sharing that with us. Now, Cola had also said this in regards to something that I believe that Criz said too. And I just want to post that. We just had a conversation about whether it is your job to make your spouse happy. Well, let's talk about that a little more. But what I love that Criz said is that person should come into the relationship already happy from both sides, but it is your job to keep them happy. Is that right, Criz? Am I right with how you said that?
Yeah. I mean, it's more, and it's pretty much what Fred was talking about. It's pretty much more of a, like he said, in our younger ages, we weren't trying to hear nothing because we thought we had the answers to everything.
True.
You know what I'm saying? My grandmother used to say, you got two ears and one mouth for a reason. You know what I'm saying? 2 ears to listen. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to rebuttal everything. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, as men, what we have to do more of, and the Reverend talked about it earlier, I mean, we have to pretty much listen to our significant other when they talk to us. Because sometimes they're not going to ask you for what they want. They're gonna hint around it, and it's your job to listen. And the surprises and all that stuff, like he said, he gets a card, but it's something else coming with that card because he heard her talk about, oh, I want this foot massager, or oh, I want this outfit or sweater or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? That's a part. That's a part of knowing your significant other. And,
that is true.
You know what I'm saying? Like he said, we make mistakes, but I don't really call them mistakes. I call them lessons. It's lessons in life. You know what I'm saying? And the lessons in your life creates the mature adult that you become.
That is so true. So let me ask though, ladies, with a show of hands, how many of you guys know how to hint around with what you want? All right, come on now, let's be real. We know how to throw our heads out there like, it would be really nice if I had, this or that. But thank you guys for picking up on those hints. So Kathy, what would you like to add to some of the things you've heard, or what comments do you want to make too? And anybody else, if you have a moment that you want to comment, you can definitely just, raise your hand or start talking. It's fine with me. When you want to say something, you guys can. It doesn't have to be when I call on you. So feel free to talk when you want to.
Just the maturity in a relationship, like I've heard, with every relationship, it grows, and like I said, when you start out in the marriage, that's the honeymoon phase, and that's in our book too, but we got different sections because we got a section in there called bedroom boredom. You're 45 years. See, a lot of times people think it's only about the sex that makes the marriage, but there's so many other ingredients. The communication, the little gestures that he know me so well. He knows certain things he wouldn't buy for me because he know that ain't cat. He call me cat. So, but it's knowing your significant other, what makes them happy. And I heard the person say happiness. Well, you got to dig inside and bring your own happiness. Now, it contributes to the relationship, because we both can supply happiness to each other. Nobody want to live in a house where one person is miserable. You come home from work and he or she sitting on the couch frowned up. You know, we have to rejuvenate our happiness on a daily basis because there's so many things in our life that can supersede the happy. I just shared with you how I lost my job last week. Was I sitting around? First thing I told him, my best friend Bob, guess what? He said, what? I said, do you know I lost my job today? He said, what? So when we came home, we went downstairs. He said, honey, it's going to be okay. You know, God will provide. He said, he's always provided. And at my age, you know, I'm not trying to go out there looking for a job. But what did we do? Went downstairs. We played some pool, played some music. And it kind of helped me to get that out. So there's other mechanisms we can use to keep us joyous, to keep us, because you're going to have trials and tribulations. I can tell you a whole lot of them. But it's just each other. You know, when he down, I have to try to encourage him, and when, because you're not going to be just la 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 all the time, but you can pull that the Lord out of you.
True. And that's good advice as well. You guys all got some good advice on here. Well, let me talk about something as a single person, because I have been married twice. And when you talk about being able to go to that significant other to say, hey, this happened to me today, or, you know, that happened to me yesterday or whatever, and you want to share a moment with somebody or something's on your mind, and you don't have that significant other in your life, that sucks. Right, Criz? When they're not there, but they got friends, right?
It goes back to what I said before. You got to know how to make yourself happy, also.
So
you know what I'm saying? You don't want to become dependent on that, though.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
But it does help to have that person there.
No. What I'm saying is, you don't want to be dependent on making yourself happy.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Keeping yourself happy all the time. You know what I'm saying? It's good to have someone by your side that you can conversate with, as they call it, pillow talk, or small talk, as them say. You know what I'm saying? It's good to have that. It's good to have that in a relationship, and you know, maybe my next relationship will be my last one. Call it the final stop, is what I call it. But hopefully that's it. I just want to say, Rhonda, thanks for having me on. I got to jump off and jump on the other podcast.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Make sure you watch Dope Livin.
All the advice from all the other couples and soon to be married couple. All right. And y'all have peace.
All right. Thank you, Criz. See you later. Bye. Appreciate you.
I kind of want to elaborate on some things. Everything that has been said has been really good, wonderful. And I was thinking about what Fred was saying about small talk. To be truthful, there really is no small talk. And what I mean by that, when we look at small talk, we think of saying or speaking of something that's light, but it's not light. Matter of fact, small talk is really big talk. And the reason I'm saying this like this is because you learn so much about the other person. And you're listening. Both of you are communicating, and a lot of times you'll be talking about this, and then it'll click. Oh man, I didn't know that. And she'll say, now it won't be communicated outward. You won't say it out loud, but it's in your mind. Wow, I didn't know that. But see, you can't get to that without that so-called small talk, because it's really big talk in short sentences. I said it that
way. We agree. Well, Heaven, I want to ask you something. Do you or Edward, do you guys have any questions for these couples? Like something you want to ask them that would be maybe some good advice for you, because you're coming together as husband and wife on Valentine's Day on Sunday. So any questions for our couples?
Okay. I do have one question. Let's just say any of you, of course, get into a little disagreement. How do you guys handle that? I mean, as far as I want to say, well, yeah, how do you guys handle that? Just if you guys get into a disagreement, do one of y'all storm off? Or do you actually sit down and talk about the situation?
Okay. Team Lackey.
I'm gonna do one, so you do yours. Okay, for my part, since we've learned what we've learned to do, what I've learned, I'll let her tell you what she does. What I do is I'll walk, I'll listen, to what she has to say. Probably won't to keep it down. I won't say anything back. I'll listen to what she say. So I heard her, because when we have disagreements, she heard what I said and I heard what she said. And then I leave it, we end it at that. But then what I do, I take it back when I'm by myself and I look at it like, okay, what could I have done to better that situation and made the outcome come better? Even if I think I'm right, 100% right, I still look at it like, okay, what could I have done better? Or what could I have done different to get a different outcome? You get what I'm saying? Because that's just the way that helps me move forward. Because I don't go into situations, we joke, but when it's serious, I don't go into the situation trying to be right. Because if every situation you got to be the one that's right, you're going to be alone. I don't look right. You get what I'm saying? In the long run, I'd rather be compromising and be together than always be the person that's right.
I agree. That's good advice.
And to what he said, I think we had to grow to that point because neither one of us are good arguers because we both are a little hot-headed. So when we were younger, the arguments were really heated and nothing was accomplished. And we had to get to the point because, first it was maybe we should write this down. So we would be sending texts. But then if you got an attitude, you reading the text with an attitude. So it just, like I said, we had to grow to the point. And like he said, we pretty much try to get our point across. And it gets a little heated sometimes, but it's not as bad as it was when we were younger. And I think we both, take a little time to reflect. And then often we come back to each other. Okay, well, you said this, and this is how we can work on this, or we just actively work on whatever the issue was.
Other part, the real part. No matter how mad you are, don't fight dirty. Don't discuss, don't argue dirty. Never say something that you don't truly mean.
And that is so true.
I never know, because I hear people talk and people say bad things about their spouse or whatever, or the B word. Like, why would you ever call your spouse, your love, a B? Or out of their name, call them out of their name. It doesn't matter. Oh, I was mad. No, I didn't marry a B.
Right.
She is still my queen, even though I don't dislike her right now. She's still my queen. So I'm not going to disrespect her, even though I'm upset. So never fight dirty. That's the biggest thing that I can tell you. Never fight dirty, because when it boils down to it, you still love him. And you don't want to say something that's going to cut deep. Don't try to cut deep. Just say what you got to say to get what you need out.
To make your point. And that's all right, because, a lot of times what people don't realize, when you say something to someone, when you're fighting dirty, that stays in their heart and in their mind. They're always going to be in the back of their head and mind that you said this at a point when you were mad. And they say when you're mad, you say what you really feel. Truth comes out in there. So that can really damage a relationship, and it can damage a person individually. So yes. And then Toseima, yes, ma'am.
Something I wanted to add to that. I think the way Freddie and I have learned to deal with our challenges and conflict is we think about, is it something that we really need to discuss right now? Or are we too upset about it where we need to table it for later? And for myself personally, I always think, am I really listening to Freddie? Am I really listening to him? Am I really looking at this situation from his perspective? Because I already know my perspective. And whether I feel I'm right or not has nothing to do with the price of tea in China. Am I really understanding it from his perspective? And no text while angry. Zero text. Like, send, I love you, send a heart. But with no text at all. And we're both very expressive. So that is rule number 909-5. And codependency, that was something I wanted to just mention. When I think about Freddie, like in that whole us being two whole pieces that come together, I often think to myself, in order not to be so codependent, what things am I desiring that I can do for myself? And what happens is I am not completely reliant upon Freddie to give me every single need, fulfill every emotion. You know, God has to be the one to fulfill those things. And then we have to be the ones, in my opinion, to decide what things we can fulfill, because a man, as amazing as my Freddie is, can only do so much. Yeah. And so it puts a ton of weight on him in the expectation to serve my every need. Instead, I'm more whole when I'm completing things that I know I need to complete for myself. And he ends up just adding, and I'm so much more happy because of that addition. But Freddie, go ahead.
Really quickly. I only had, there's only two things, real quick things. One is, and this is something for Heaven and Edward, that something I can tell you. My mother told me one time when I was about 18 years old, and I was in high school and I was dating. And I told her that we were arguing about something. And she said, you know what, Freddie? She said, arguing is nothing more than trying to make somebody else think what you think.
That's true.
And when she said that to me, I was like, because you don't think
wise woman.
You're too busy trying to get your point off. So you're not thinking about what you're doing. It's almost, you know, it's a contest almost. So when you think about it like that and go into it, it's a lot easier, if it bothers you to think that that's what you're doing, to kind of back off of that spot. And the other thing is, I remember somebody else telling me when I was younger too, if you are mad about it the next day, if you remember it the next day, then it's worth talking about if you didn't talk about it the first day. If you're not mad the next day, you're still holding the grudge. You're not even mad anymore. You're just mad because your pride now has been hurt. And that's the hardest thing to step over or push away from a situation, is pride and everything. Because when you're younger or when you're not dealing with yourself in truth, your pride will come up. And pride comes right before the fall.
That's true.
Right. As quick as I can do it.
Awesome. Yes, Kathy.
I believe there's a script, I don't know where it's at, but it said, let not the sun go down on your wrath. And a lot of times you have to disagree agreeably, how that may sound, but sometimes you find that when you back away, like some of the panel said, away from the argument, and sometimes it's best not to even talk sometimes, because you may fly off and say the wrong thing that can hurt, you know, for a lasting time. So when I find myself really, really upset, I say, you know what, let's just talk about this later, you know, and we'll just kind of back off, you know. And then when you reason with it and you say, maybe I was acting irrational, and, you know, then you apologize. Okay, then when you cool down, then you can kind of talk about it. But when both of you fly off the handle, you ain't going to come.
You know. And another thing I would want to bring out, everything that's been said has been just wonderful. And I'll say it this way. Words never miss. So when you say something hurtful, painful, cutting, it never misses. And the thing about that, you can't bring that back. You can't unsay that, what you said. The only thing you can do is you can do a lot of loving and cherishing and petting on that, because once you get that out there, it hurts. It doesn't miss. Words never miss. Like what we can tonight. These words going out, it's hitting where it's supposed to hit. That's why we have to be careful what we say. But and another thing about it, you don't want to get in a disagreement and then go to sleep on that disagreement, because you don't know if you're going to wake up the next morning.
Life's way too short.
That's true. So and because if you have a disagreement, if you don't take it to bed with you, a lot of times it's going to be worked out before you get into bed. It's going to be squashed. And then the next day, a lot of times, you don't even remember what you was arguing about. What were we talking about? Oh, that didn't make no sense. No way. I just wasn't feeling good. My head was hurting or whatever, you know. And so it's best just don't go to sleep with that argument.
I agree. I think that's some really, really good advice that everybody is sharing with Heaven and with Ian to our viewers as well. So I want to ask this question I want to make a statement to our viewers and to you guys. You know, life is so short. You never know, like you said, if you're going to wake up that next morning or not. And when we look at a relationship, and when you do say you love that person and they're a part of your life, you have to think about the fact that what if they were gone the next day? Was that argument really worth the time? I mean, you know, like you said, you could be arguing over something stupid like, I told you to put the toilet seat down, but you keep leaving it up. I mean, stuff that really, and like Fred said, it's just you trying to win your point and making people go over to your point of view, really is what an argument is kind of like, is like for real. And so, you know, we have to be mindful that we're talking about love, and love is one of the most beautiful things you can have. God is a God of love. Those believers out there, we all know that God is a God of love. So if God is a God of love, he wants us to operate and walk in love. Who better than to share that love or show that love than a significant person that you're with? So you have to think about all those things. And again, like somebody said, you know, choose your battles. I think you even said that earlier, Heaven. But is it really worth me having an argument? Is it really worth me being upset? You know, one of the things you have to do is, like I think I heard someone say too, is check yourself and say, you know, really, am I just tripping about something that I shouldn't even be tripping about or whatever? Or if it's something that's ongoing and it's been bothering you for a while, then it's time to approach it in a nice manner to say, hey, can we sit down and really, really talk about this? Because it's really been bothering me. And I just want to see what your opinion is. And it's the way that you say things to people too that can dictate what their response is going to be. Because if you come bold with them, like, look, you need to sit down and talk with me because I'm tired of all this that's going on. What's going to happen with that person? They're going to have an attitude right back with you. So you have to, you know, think about, take all that into consideration in a relationship. It is work, but it's worth the work because you'll learn as you grow and grow and grow with each other, you know, how to make that your relationship the best that it can be. And it's an ongoing situation, but it's worth it because you married that person. So they must be worth you to go in there and give all that you can give. Yes, Toseima.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were sitting up to tell me something. So Edward, I don't know if I wanted to see if he had any questions or not as well. We're going to wrap up in just a few minutes, but I just want everybody just to realize that, again, life is too short. And I did notice that I wanted to say, Toseima did share where you're looking for that verse, and it is in Ephesians 4:26. Okay. Edward said, thank you. And then, okay, he was just making some comments. And they were just making comments in the private group. I just wanted to read them so I could be nosy too. So I know what's up. I'm trying to read at the same time. So they were just talking to each other. But let me see. Anybody else, something you want to share that you think that our viewers need to know about love? You know, one of the things I have to say, though, when I asked you guys to tell me the very first question, what is love when it comes to speaking about your wife? You guys talked about, to me, each of you, or your husband, each of you talked about what love is, but you really, really didn't a whole lot address it to when it comes to that particular person. You know, when you look at them. So now I'm going to ask a different way. Fred, when you look at Toseima, what do you see when you look at her? And when we talk about love, look at her and tell me what you see.
What time do we have now?
That was a good answer right there.
When I tell you that, you know, I talk about the wiring, and, you know, the yin and yang, the compatibility, the yoke, you can, however you would refer to it, what it comes down to is what I see and I look at Toseima.
Look at that pretty face.
Yeah, I could be overwhelmed sometimes because she is a lot of a person. She has so many things going on all the time from the heart. Okay, not just in the outer world, but in her heart. So there's always something to talk about. There's always something to connect on. There's always something to grow into. There's always something to feel good about, you know? And from my angle, I feed back into it. I think when I look at her and I see somebody who purposefully was brought into my life. And I think that to add on to that with what you were saying, people look all the time for the love, you know? I was looking for nobody. I was in my space. I was just coming to see a friend because I hadn't seen him in a while and was just sitting down, just trying to relax on a Friday evening. And there she was. And we talked. Yeah. We talked and then we talked again. And then before you know it, I had to be quiet. I love to talk. He loves to talk too. So we have a good time. We really do. I think that sometimes we have to be careful because we'll overtalk a whole situation or an event or a timeline that we're supposed to be on. So getting back to the question, we enjoy each other's company in all things. There's not much that, you know, I won't say we can't, but there's not much that we don't do. If it's breakfast, you know, the passion's there. You know, when I cook breakfast with passion. I might make pancakes from scratch, you know? It just depends on what's going on. So with her, I find motivation too. I find a reason, I find motivation, I find a lot of comfort. So I see she completes a lot of the things that in all of my abilities that I'm not doing. She actually, without even asking so many things, she does. And she's able to compliment me so much in that way. And I'm hoping that I do the same thing with her. We're totally different learners in that way. I'm observant, okay? I will watch her move and I'll learn so many things just by watching her move without asking her a question. And then 3 weeks later, I'll come back and mention that. She's on the other side, she's gonna ask me a direct question.
Okay.
We're never gonna get bored.
Well, so Ronnie, what would you say? I want you to look at Cola and tell me what love means to you when you look right at her right now.
Okay. When I look at her, I see love means my friend. You know, someone that I can we talk and laugh about anything. I mean, especially with this pandemic going on, people talking about going out. I enjoy being home. I enjoy coming home, sitting here, just chatting with her, laughing with her. I enjoy looking at her sexiness, going to walk by me. You know, I just enjoy her company, you know, and I enjoy to see her smile. Awesome. You know, so I'm happy. It makes me happy. It makes me a better person when I'm around her.
Well, that's beautiful. I love to hear you guys say these wonderful things. Now, Bobby, I saved you for last, and then I'm going to go over to Heaven and ask her a couple of questions, and then we're going to wrap up. So, Bobby, look at that beautiful woman, Kat, that you call Kat over here. When you look at her, what does love mean to you when you look at her right now? What do you feel?
Okay, well, all right. Now, when I look at my wife, love to me encapsulates oneness. Oneness is not automatic. Oneness is worked upon and is created, is made. It says in the scripture, God put man and woman together and they became one. Now that's not just physical, that's mental also. So this is when I say my better half, I mean my better half. We're one. And that encapsulates everything in that. I'll say it this way. We're to the point that she can be thinking something and I'll say it. Yeah. Or I'll be thinking something and then she'll say it. You know, that's that oneness, but that's love. You can't get there without love. Like don't get there. Liking somebody don't get you there. But when you love somebody, you'll get to that point. You'll learn them so much that you will be one. That's love. That's love. You know?
That is. You're right about that. I love that. Thank you. That was so pretty. So, Heaven, So you've heard a lot of advice here. You know, you guys have been together for a while, and you definitely are in love. And I think you guys make a beautiful couple. But I definitely wanted to do this show just so that I can help, just for people out there from different perspectives to see different stages of relationships. Now, for you, what do you think when it comes to how do you see things being a little bit different for you when you go into being married as a couple as opposed to the time that you guys have been dating or engaged?
That is a great question. Because I really don't see a difference. Only because whatever I do, whatever I just commit myself to everything. Like it being him, it being a job, it being a business, it being a goal. I commit myself to a specific thing or person very hard. So I don't see a difference because you know I gave myself to him. I told God that I would give myself to him, and I feel like me and him we came a long way. But for me, why I am marrying him is because he was the first one to walk in that path with me of, following God, and trying to stay on that righteous path. When we started dating, he was the first guy to ever be excited about going to church with me, and I'm like, really? You wanted to church? So it meant a lot to me because, that's what I want to walk in. That's who I am. And he would read the Bible to me every night. He knows the Bible more than I do, and it's like really amazing to me. So I think there won't be a difference. I think we just have to continue to build our relationship with God, and building our foundation for our kids. We're really big on trying to break the cycle of what we've seen our parents do, and how we've seen their relationships growing up. His parents, they're separated. My parents, they're separated. So we don't want our children to have to go through that, because, it affected him. It affected me. And that's something that we want we want our children to see a happy home, see a healthy home, and having both of their parents, together and making sure they receive that guidance and that love from each of us. So, yeah.
Okay, and that's really good. I think that one of the things I can say about Heaven and Edward, we call them E, so if I end up saying E, that's what we call them E. But they do, as a young couple, they do really try to talk about things and talk about their future and work towards things to better their relationships. And I have to say, and first let me put these comments up, and then I'm going to I want to say, well, Bobby, I'm gonna put yours up first. He said, "I love my wife for her." That's cute. And then we had and then wifey. He was trying to say, okay. And then LaShawn made a comment. She said, in other words, the statement "words will never hurt you" is incorrect. They absolutely do hurt, and that is absolutely true as well. But I want to share something with you guys. So, one of the things I love and I'm so proud about with my niece and my nephew, Edward, is because in Heaven's wedding, Heaven, how old are you now? Like 27?
Yes.
Almost 28? Okay. So one of the things that Heaven said when they do their wedding ceremony and reception tomorrow, not tomorrow, but Sunday, on Valentine's Day, she stated that I want gospel music playing when people come in. She also stated to us in a Bible study where our family does a Bible study. She said, the Lord is telling me that we need to pray and do a word like we do a Bible study during my wedding or reception. And so she knows to hear from God, and she's willing to walk in those steps that the Lord says. And you know that only can be when you have God as that foundation, as your center and as your covering, it's only going to bless that relationship you have. Now, I do know I have viewers out there that may not know the Lord, but we're telling you, once you do get a relationship with God, if that's the desire you have, then that relationship with God and that love and that relationship that you have first there is going to bless you in so many areas of your life. And then when it comes to Edward, Edward will literally tell me, hey, I was listening to the Bible study and I really liked it. You know, he's like quiet sometimes, so I don't even know that he's there, but he'll make a comment. And so they really have a heart after the Lord, and they really want the best in their relationship. So I know that God is truly going to bless the union of you two coming together as one in marriage as well. So with all that said, I do want to thank you guys. I don't want to hold you too long. We've already went over an hour with the show, but I think that it's going to bless a lot of people. If you guys have one quick thing you want to add before I close, you're welcome to do that. It's up to you. Just come in there and say what you want to say. If not, you know, hey, that's good too. But I do thank each of you. And for my viewers, make sure you like, make sure you follow, and make sure you subscribe, because we want to make sure we can get this word out to as many people as we can. Let's make a difference in lives. If you can share a video that's something positive, why not do that? Instead of showing, you know how people share all the craziness or the funny videos. Now, some videos are funny, and I might crack up on some stuff, but why not share something that's going to educate someone or bless their spirit or bless their relationship? And you've heard some great advice from all these people here online with us today. So share this video, make it something, you know, special happen for someone else. Anybody, any comments? My people.
Just want to say congratulations to you. Just a quick snippet. I met my husband at church, and he was playing the bongo drum. So, you know, we were both freaking God. I didn't want to be there, and I don't know if he wanted to be there, but it was weird how bring people together. So I just want to say congratulations to you, and we just pray that you have a beautiful union together.
Thank you.
I was actually going to say something very similar, just that we're excited for your wedding on Sunday, and we just pray that God continues to nourish and bless and offer you all the prosperity and joy your marriage can hold, and then some. And just grateful for the remarkable Rhonda for inviting us to be a part of this. It's so
love is the journey. Enjoy the ride.
All right.
Don't lose focus on the journey, trying to get to the destination. Enjoy those steps.
All right.
So true. Guys, let me ask you this quick question too, because I heard a pastor say this at one point and I thought it made really, really good sense. But if you're going into a relationship and you're doing the things that it takes to please and keep your spouse happy, and they're doing the same thing, because now we're not being selfish and thinking just about ourselves, we're thinking about that other person. When you go into that with the mindset of, let's do what it takes to, you know, keep that happiness and joy in our relationship, really that helps you have much more of a blessed relationship too, because it's all about learning a different way to learn, you know, and how to love in the correct way without hurting people. Okay, so I don't know, that's what I feel. But thank you guys all for being on the show. I really appreciate everybody, and we are going to end here. See you guys next time.
All right. Bye.